I feel like for people who grew up in traditional African homes like I did, there was this rubbish respect that wasn't really respect, where someone is saying something that is obviously not true, and you're expected to just stand there and
take it.
Take it. What bullshit. To me, as far as I'm concerned, that's nonsense upbringing. Because I want my child to say, Mommy, that's not true. There's a way you can communicate that without being rude. I want my child to tell me, Mommy, that's not what happened. That's not true. Is it okay if I tell you what actually happened? Because that's why a lot of pedophilia, a lot of abuse, a lot of blackmailing of young children came into like the way we were raised. A lot of people were abused because nobody would believe them. Hey everyone, welcome back to Beyond 30. Today we're going to be talking about how you're raising your kids differently from how your parents raised them. But before we jump into it, meet my friends.
Temi
and Dr. O.
And I'm Kome. All right. So you guys, though, what are you doing differently when it comes to raising your children than how your parents raised you?
Lots of things. I'm still processing.
I definitely think a lot of things, but I want you guys to be specific. So, can you give like one particular area where you know that you are different?
I think you guys should start. I'm also processing.
Yeah, I feel like
when you start talking
I'm trying to
in
my head. I'm trying to break it down. Like we're going from like mental, physical, academic, spiritual. So if I start with emotional.
Okay.
I don't know, I was very little, so I don't know, maybe there's some things I've forgotten. But there's something I do with my daughter, which is like, making sure like I reassure her every time, give her a hug. Lots of hugs, lots of kisses. Like I'm the one requesting for it. If you don't give it to me, I'm collecting it. I don't recall that my parents did that. Our parents were not like overtly emotional. They're like, my baby, I haven't seen you in a long time. Come here, give me a hug.
My sweet boy.
My sweet boy. And I see my little boy, I'm like, come here, my sweet boy, or whatever you guys say, I say. I don't recall my mom doing that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's number one that I've, in my head, I think I'm doing differently because I'm a bit more open about my feelings.
Yeah,
and emotion.
We express our feelings more compared to our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for me.
Yeah, true. I think like in my house growing up, I don't remember my parents ever saying I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think with my kids, I'm very like sure that I tell them, hey, I love you. Even if I punish you, even I spank you, I love you.
Yeah.
Right? So there's never that doubt of
that
how does mommy,
questioning.
does mommy love me or not? Yeah.
I think it's the same for me as well.
Yeah. And bedtime routines. It's like, do you remember your parents reading you stories for bedtime?
Did my mother have time to read things?
Why?
I remember when I was really, really small, this is like below 10, maybe even below 8.
Okay.
My mom did used to read us bedtime stories.
Wow.
That was nice. Maybe I'll ask my mom if she ever did. But I maybe
if you don't remember.
I don't remember that.
My mother did not read me any story. Mama, did you read me stories? Like, no, so that definitely wasn't happening. So now that we're reading, I think, again, for me, that informed, because that's when you now tell jokes and you're learning together. And it's a teachable moment. So, reading time routines, bedtime routines as well.
Yeah, bedtime routines, getting a hug. My son will go over and over and say, Mommy, can I get another kiss, another hug? It's like, sometimes I'm like, people are like to hug too much. Don't sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's on the emotional side. So I think I'm way more open.
Yeah.
And
Expressing our feelings.
yes, with my emotions.
I think I'm softer with my kids. The way I was raised was tough love.
Tough love.
Well, I think with my children, I'm a bit more.
Is there a reason
Why we were raised with
why?
tough love?
Why?
I don't know.
Is there a reason why everything's changed? Like why it's changed now? Because I feel like some parents still do tough love with their kids.
And maybe because
No.
in my case, so I can only speak for myself that because I saw what I was lacking with the tough love. So I never want my kids to be in a situation where they're either doubting that they're loved or someone does something to them outside and they're so scared to tell their parents. And then people are blackmailing them because of things like that. Because I saw a lot of that growing up where you tell a child, I'm going to tell your daddy, and he falls on the floor and he's ready to, he would rather die outside than go home. And I just thought, that is actually very toxic. Like, I feel like your parents should be a safe space for you.
Your house,
for one
yeah.
of the parents, so because in my house that's how it is for my son, and because that's the only person he fears. My son is fearless, he doesn't fear nobody. But if you tell him, I'll tell your daddy, or more,
The vibe just changes.
so he has to have someone that he fears.
But do
He
you
can't be-
think that that is because now he's very little?
Oh, you mean when he grows older? Well, there still has to be a fear factor, because I can talk. Sometimes it doesn't enter. The moment my husband just says one sentence, boom, it's done. We need that. If not, who's going to call him to order? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I'm
get
okay to be
you.
the soft one. It's not like him and my husband don't play it and that, but he knows that when my husband says this, it's serious and he doesn't mess around with it. And I want it to stay that
I
way
understand.
because we need it more in the teenage years than even now.
I understand what you mean, but I think where I would be a little cautious is like, if the kid, like we all know, some kids can handle tough love, and others will crumble.
No, this one is not tough love. This one is just like she mentioned that when the person says, I'll tell your daddy, they would rather not want their dad to know. That's not my son. If you say,
Like they,
"I'm
but will
going
he
to
rather
tell
not?
daddy,"
Will he still not want to come home because of
no, not want to come. As in, he would rather
That's
not
different.
want you to tell him. If I say, I will tell your daddy, don't tell daddy, don't tell daddy, don't tell daddy. I'm like,
yeah.
So you tell
Yes.
your daddy.
Okay.
You see, you know
Okay.
how I
No.
always try
No.
to-
So I think I get where you're coming from, but what I'm talking about is that some situations where the outsider is now taking advantage of them because they are so terrified of their parents.
Yes.
No, in that situation, they will tell me.
So there's a balance.
Like there's a
So
balance.
there's a balance.
Do you get? But I just want that there's that figure in the house that can call you, because it will be really disastrous if there's nobody that can
I mean,
call
I
the
don't
child.
mind that, but I have seen situations. In fact, there was a particular girl that got pregnant because the guy caught her doing something she should not have been doing at school and blackmailed her. And now, in hindsight, it's like, sir and ma, how are you raising your daughter that she would rather sleep with a dirty stranger? She must have been terrified, right? So that's a very, like, for me, in the back of my mind, I'm like, nope, I never want my kids to doubt that mommy and daddy are a safe space. You, the stranger, do your worst.
Yeah.
I will, in fact, I'll tell my mom and my daddy by myself. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I understand the part where, like, if you're too hard on your kids, if you don't allow them to be vulnerable at home, or at least be able to tell you stuff, that's why outsiders will be able to take advantage of them, which is the part that I want to make sure that my kids don't have.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I was raised up with like that level of tough love. Yeah, it was tough, like in the sense that the society in general was tough on girls and maybe the environment and everything. But I think at home I could still talk to my mom. You know what I mean? I could still.
No, I don't think I had any tough love too.
Yeah, I could still talk to my mom. I could still, but she was not like super. Oh my God, give me a hug, give me like. And then sometimes I'm like, are we doing too much? Like sometimes I'm like, am I too like? Oh my God, my baby, like Or is it because they're still so young?
That's what I say. You can only do it for so long, because after a while, it will get to a point where they'll be like, mommy, it's okay, this hug is too much. So do it while you can.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
It can never be too much.
Because yeah.
I think we're also raising our kids for the environment, because I feel like nowadays mental health is a big issue. There were people who had mental health issues in our time, but now it's prominent. Now you're hearing that your child or children are getting bullied at school for little things, right? That's not the time to be an enemy, because you want to know. Like, there was this one in the UK, I think she was about 13 to 15, that committed suicide because she was on the bigger side. She wasn't fat, she was just plump, chubby, and they were making fun of her at school, and this girl killed herself.
Hey.
Right? But
Hey.
I feel like this world now has just gone past, oh, go and read your book. That's the list.
Yeah.
So you really need to be close. And I feel like the way we're doing it, by being friends with our kids, like, come home from school, tell me what happened.
Yes.
I want to know. I don't want to just know the surface. I don't want you to filter it for me because you think mommy is going to be upset. I want you to tell me as it is.
Yeah. I agree with that. So, okay, that's good.
I think I'm going to go to cookie jar questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I want it to jog things that were, some
Jog
people
our memory.
some people
Because in
are
my mind, I'm like-
some people are trying to give us some surface answers here. Let's go deeper. Okay. I'll practice what I preach. I'll go
All right.
first. I don't mind. Okay. So, all right, this question says, do you think today's kids are missing out on real childhood experiences?
Yes.
Yes and no.
What are those experiences they're missing out
We
on?
used to do play outside, play with our cousin bonds, play with sand, cook outside, do different things, right? They don't really get that much. Now
No
it's more of
10-10.
iPad, no 10-10, no all this hide and seek,
Yeah.
catch up, blah, blah, blah. Even though they try
They
to do
do
some
it,
hide and seek
yeah.
now, but it's not the same as...
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
But I think that it's also it's a factor of the fact that the world is not safe anymore. I feel like when we're growing up, things like the world was safer. Things were better. Like, parents felt more comfortable letting their child out. Can you let your child play outside now?
No, but I want to ask, was it
Not
because the world was not safer, or was it because you didn't know a lot of things because there was no internet exposure?
Because then there was still bummer.
Exactly. In the neighborhood,
Social media to
there were still
expose it,
kids. There were still older
Pedophiles.
kids that were abusing kids, other kids in the neighborhood. There were still like all that stuff. It's just
It
we're
was
so
just not as-
sensitized now
Yeah.
to be aware of how terrible the world is. That knowing that much about what goes on in the world makes you know, like,
It's still like,
nope,
I don't think this really-
you're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what it is, because I don't think the world got more wicked, in my opinion. I feel like
I think it did though. Let me explain. I feel like in our time, basically, if you were going to be a bad person, like a mentally ill or imbalanced person, you were learning from your surroundings, things you had seen.
Yeah.
Now you can actually Google anything, how to kill a
Still the
person.
same
You Google it, and Google will actually give you suggestions.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you guys, I'd not say you should try this, but even ChatGPT now is not helping matters. If you go on ChatGPT, what are the 5 best ways to kill? It will actually give you. So I feel like people now have resources that if you want to be bad, you'll be really bad.
it's true. It's true. This is true. I think it's still the same with the exposure, I guess. That
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah, that's made things really bad.
Yeah, too much exposure to those things has, made kids more make them more exposed to like the worst things that happen in the world, and then access to phones, tablets. Because our parents didn't deal with that stuff.
Yeah, they didn't have to.
All they had to worry about was TV.
And even
that's very
Tilly was
easy to
very,
control.
And even TV, like, was not always available. When we were talking about that in one other episode where we're like, you have to wait till 4 p.m. or something
Yeah.
for your channel, for the channel that you want to watch. to
And
start.
by 7 p.m., no more
It's
kids
bedtime.
channel, it's bedtime.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like
yeah.
it's so different now. So I guess that's why we're adapting to how we're raising our kids, and we're being a bit more intentional, you know, about how they feel and how they process stuff, and we're trying to learn it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go.
I like how she didn't bring it
she
to
didn't
me.
waste time. Okay. Do you think your kids will grow up and say you are too strict or too lenient? Too lenient. So, yeah, maybe they won't say it. Too strict. Maybe in some things. Maybe something. Because you like shouting so much when people don't listen when I talk normally. That's why I have to shout. So maybe they might say, yeah, you hear them gossip. I'm like, oh, she shouts too much. Oh, mommy's always shouting. You think she's mean? Like, yeah, she's mean. I'm like, it's me people are talking about her. You know, I can hear you, right? So, yeah, but I think if by the time they are grown up, they will understand that, you know, it was some form of discipline. But I don't think they will think I think it should be a balance.
Me, if I want to be honest, I think my kids are going to think it that I was too strict.
Too strict.
Yeah. I think they're going to think.
Why I said
Yeah.
too strict, they would think you're too. At the time they grew up, they would have understood that it was necessary. If it's now, they would think you're too strict.
Okay.
Because
When is grow up for you?
grow up means at least 18.
Even at 18 is when they just started processing that, oh, you know, now I have my own life to live. I think it's until when they have children.
When they have children, yes.
It doesn't enter their brain that,
because most of it, that was when we realized, also I have my own kids. Some of the things I said, my mom or my dad is, I will never do. It's a lie, you're doing the same thing right now. And I'm not understanding that, so this is how my mom was feeling.
Exactly.
That she did.
Exactly. So I feel like there's no, unless your household was like, unless someone, like kids grew up in a household where everything was like whatever. But if they grew up in a
under too lenient,
exactly. But a lot of kids, there's no kid that the kids. Well, you know, when we were growing up, the things we considered as privilege, when we were like, oh my God, yes, we got to do this. If you keep with your kid, with these kids of nowadays, they're not seeing it as any big deal. I'm like, sometimes I tell them, I said, the types of things I let you do, you know, at this age, the types of things I let you do. You go to plenty birthday parties.
Apart from that, my daughter, but why are we traveling to this summer? Oh, we need to go to. I'm like,
when we were growing up,
I had not yet traveled. Like, what are you asking me about?
During the summer, you will now do summer school, which is another learning opportunity. Like all those things, you didn't have access to it.
Yeah.
But they still feel like, you know, you are hard, you know, you are tough on them.
Let me tell you people what I'm doing so that I will not be too hard. So the other day I was driving the kids to school and then this conversation came up of, Mommy, how was your school when you were in primary school? And I was like, first of all, if you're late to school, because in the morning I never want them to be late to school, right? So I hurry them up in the morning. So I think that day they were feeling a bit too rushed. And then question came up like, Mommy, you know, how was your primary school? I was like, first of all, if you are late to school, they flog you. I saw my baby, they're like,
Oh my God.
Flog? Do you mean beats? I'm like, yes. And then I went on to describe that. First of all, they use a cane that cannot break. And that cane, they call it bankere.
And it has branches.
And then my son was like, oh my God, Mommy, that must have really hurt. I was like, yes, they beat you all over your body. And sometimes you even get back. And I described it. I wasn't exaggerating. I was telling him the reality. And he was like, just for coming late. I'm like, yes, for coming late, for being rude, for any bad thing, they beat you. My son said, I wouldn't have loved to go to your school. Thank you, Mommy, that I'm going to this school. Right? So for me, I tell them how it was for me.
Yeah.
And then it makes them appreciate where it is now. Like sometimes they'll be like, oh, Mommy, I don't want to eat that. I'm like, okay, drink water and sleep. My daughter is like, you're not worried we'll be hungry? I'm like, no. She's like, why? I'm like, because there are several children in the world that don't have food. So she's like, what? Then I show them pictures. I'll be like, you see this one? He has not eaten for a week. I mean, I know that I'm not trying to traumatize them. I just want them to be aware that they have it good.
Yeah. Actually, my daughter does ask me some of those questions sometimes. For example, like with my daughter, I took her to the nail salon. We were meant to get like a mani-pedi or whatever. And I told her that, you know, that when I was growing up, you're not even allowed to even go near paint. In fact, lip gloss. So you should know that all this, you know, things mommy is doing for you is extra.
Yeah.
Even more than extra. Do you understand? I think she gets it, but I still feel like, because I don't know, maybe it's also my style, is I do a lot of shouting.
Shouting.
Yeah.
It's not just you now. That's what they're saying. You're always shouting. I'm like, I shout because people don't
Are
hear
there
when
parents?
I speak.
Are there
the
parents
normal
that
way.
do shout?
No. Have you ever seen me shouting? No.
Because
How
me.
do you?
How do you do? Because
I don't shout.
is my default. Like,
If
especially
you hear
they're
me
not doing it.
shouting, is one off. I don't shout. I just tell them consequences.
You just
Like
say
what?
consequences.
What kind of
Or what?
consequences?
So I'm like, oh, you maybe I asked you to do something you're not doing. Or what will make me shout? Like, oh, I asked you to do something you're not doing it. Or you're doing something that you know I obviously don't like. I'll just be like, oh, okay. I guess you don't like your Nintendo now. For the next 1 week, you'll not see it.
Maybe it's a demeanor. Because, you know, I noticed the same thing with my husband. He doesn't shout. He doesn't scream. But he still gets his message across. I don't know how to get my message across. The first time, I would say it normally. The second time, the voice will go up a little bit. Adore. Oh, the third time, I'm like, I'll mention it. I'm like, I've been telling you to do this for a while now. Why you know, and then I now become like a nagging mommy.
Oh,
Any
okay.
little thing.
I'm going to recommend a book to you, but please, people are going to hear the title of this book and say, ha, come here. I can't read The Art of War. The moment you start shouting, you've lost control.
Femi does not look like she believes this one. Though.
Once you start shouting, you've lost the word now.
So we have to, those of us that have like the natural shouting, loud voice demeanor, we have to learn how to like tone it down and be like, I'm trying not to mention names. You. No, just be like, you, get up.
They will look at you like,
Have you ever tried the reward system?
Oh yeah, we do reward system. In fact, right now they are collecting points, but still, they're collecting points for to watch a tablet, to watch the tablet, whether it's on the weekend or they're not allowed to watch tablets during the week or use the tablet at all. So, but they're allowed to do it on the weekend. But the only time they get the tablet is if they have up to 20 points. And there are things that they need to do to get to 20 points at my discretion. Sometimes I remove points depending on what you do.
And it's still not working.
No, this is why I said this might be my natural.
although that thing that Kume says she does, I do it sometimes, though it might come after I've shouted and then I'll be like, if you don't do it right now, no tablet for you over the weekend. Immediately.
We do. Yeah,
don't
but
do it like that. Sometimes I'm going to throw your toy in the dustbin.
You better throw it. You better throw it. So what I've noticed
No, they always do it. They always do it. Because there's something about that thing that if you don't follow through, they won't take you seriously.
they won't though.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to do something and you
Make
don't
sure
do
you
it,
do
because that's
it.
what my husband does. That it gets them. If he says he's going to do, they know he's not playing.
Yeah.
But me, sometimes if I say I'm going to do, I'll be like, this thing I use my money to buy.
Same is even having bias remotes on top of the Audi. Let me tell you something that happened this week, right?
Yeah.
So I love plantain chips, one particular plantain chip. So we went to buy the plantain chips over the weekend and I bought a few and I hid them.
Right.
Okay. So that day they came back from school and there's something that really irritates me. I hate when children don't greet. So they got back from school. The first one came, greeted. I was like, okay, cool, go and change. Second one didn't show up. I noted it. So I was eating my plantain chips. The first one finishes changing, comes in and is like, oh, mommy, let me tell you about my day. I was like, oh, do you want some plantain chips? She was like, yeah. So I gave her plantain chips. Second person shows up when plantain chips was flying about. I'm like, did you come to greet me when you entered this house? He's, no. You don't deserve plantain chips. I'm sorry. Bye. Right? And then...
And you don't think he at that moment, he probably thought you were too strict.
He started crying. But crying never killed nobody. So I was like, okay, bye. Now, here's the funny part.
Right.
They got out of the room.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what he told the sister. And that one gave him out of the plantain chips.
Ah.
Wait.
Okay.
As if I knew.
I'm imagining it.
Then I called the two of them back and I saw him eating plantain chips and I'm like, yo, who gave you some? I was like, his sister gave him. I was like, oh, sister, so mommy doesn't know what she's doing. That's why she didn't give him plantain chips. Okay, you
You too.
Omni knowest. Give me back my plantain chips. She started crying. I was like, two of you, out. So that day, like,
Yeah.
even their dad knows not to interfere when this kind of thing. Because I didn't beat you. The only thing is that next time you will remember that I need to greet. How dare you come home from school and not greet your parents?
I started learning. So when we go for skating, that's when I started learning how to be more firm with like the things that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, because before I say it, I know that okay, this is supposed to work, but if it's not working, they've I don't know. I feel like kids, they study you. They know how to like get you at, you know. So they've been not listening to me, right? So I'm like, how am I going to get these kids to listen to me? So that was why one of the days, you know, we normally get pretzels, and I was like, no pretzels today, whether it's from me or it's from any of your friends. No pretzels today. It looked like I was wicked. Even me, my body was doing me one kind. I was like, hi, I might be wicked. But you know what? After that, there's nothing you tell my boy. If he knows that pretzels on the line, including eating their lunch. Even though I also did one small cheat, I made it easy for them to finish that. So I give them like something that they like on Tuesday, on those days that we go, so that I know that okay, on that day that we actually go for skating, they will at least try to finish everything in their plate. But before then, they won't finish it, they won't eat it, then they want me to buy pretzel. No, it's not happening. So like it's what I've learned. It's what I've learned with kids is like the firm, like being. If you're not firm with them, then they're gonna think that, oh, mommy's not serious. She just loves us anyway. You know, She doesn't give it to us. And now that they know, I say, hi, I got you, people.
Yeah.
But now I'm worried that okay, are they now thinking I'm too strict? But honestly, that's my job as a parent.
It's only for now.
Yes,
Eventually
and that I've resolved to myself. Said that's the job, my job as a parent. Because at this age, you know, this is when I can actually help mold you. Once they get to a certain point where they have complete mind, like they already these days at 9, 10, they already know what they're doing. But you say your kid's even so innocent, doesn't know what they're doing. Once they're 12. It's very hard to penetrate, you know, how their mind works, how their brain thinks. So I'm like, well, let me be doing my parenting job. Later, you appreciate me for all these things, you know.
So you know, a lot of parents rely on flogging their children, and I feel like that's a sign of weakness, because it means that a lot of the times when you flog the child, you are flogging the child to make yourself feel better. It's a sign of weakness. That's why I said, go and read that The Art of War.
Do they have listening version?
Thank you. Because to sit down and be reading book, honestly,
I will sleep off.
to just listen.
But you know, it's a grown-up book. It's not about parenting. It's not a parenting book. It's just that it teaches you some things like your composure as a person. So, for example, if you go into an argument and you're shouting, you've lost control of that conversation, because now your emotions are in control. You're doing things out based on how you feel, right? That's why they say, like, when you're negotiating, you don't negotiate emotionally, right? It's the same thing with raising children. One of the lessons I took from that is you never want to be so emotional that you are beating out of anger. Or you're punishing out of anger, because that child doesn't even know why you're beating like that. So that's why I use things like that. Like even the school lunch one, there was one they did. I knew they did not like the food. They came back and they didn't eat. They didn't finish it. And then they were busy asking for what they love for dinner. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. We spend money to buy the food. I brought it out. I warmed it beautifully. And they ate it. They were grumbling. The next day, the food they took to school, they finished it.
And I'm like, so me,
you want to come home and eat your lunch again?
Our own. So that's like our
warm
norm
it for
now.
you.
That's our norm now. If you don't finish your food, once you come back, because in our house, nobody's wasting food. So as you come back, that's the first thing that you're going to eat before you even touch anything else, right? And that's one thing that we're very firm on. You know what I mean? So it works on some kids, but it's not every kid that, you know, some stuff. Like I feel like kids are so different. You know, sometimes kids are different, families are different. Like it just all,
Okay.
yeah.
What was Sneaking out as a teen or sneaking a phone into bed? Of course, sneaking out is worse now. Sneaking a phone into bed. I did not do that one. Sneaking out is worse.
I never sneaked out.
That's what I'm saying is worse. I never sneaked out too, but
we're such good girls.
I did not sneak phone into bed either.
Why?
Well, we didn't have phone. Me, I didn't have phone to sneak in.
I didn't have a phone until I was after secondary school.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a
Same.
phone in secondary school from
Oh,
JS2.
wow. JS2? That's how you know some people.
I used to go to bed with your phone.
No, I didn't used to go to bed with my phone, but I think there was a time I was grounded because of maths in SS1 or so. So they seized my phone. So I was using my sister's phone. So that's when I used to sneak it.
We sneaked
I guess
things.
now it's not a secret because mommy and daddy just caught me.
It's too late now. It's too late. No, like I didn't sneak phones, but I snuck out to watch TV.
How about these girls
At
that used to
1
sneak
a.m.
boys into their house?
That's next level, low. That's next level, low.
Really?
Especially here, like, you know, they do all those things. I don't know that in Nigeria you can. How do you want to sneak from the gates?
Gates. My person will be like,
They can't even climb the fence. Which fence are you climbing? The fence that is as high as this.
Okay, so are you saying you don't know anyone who ever snuck? Is it snuck?
when their
Sneaked a
parents were
boy?
in the same house.
Okay, well, how about when mommy and daddy go out?
Then it will be sneaky.
What
It's
you call
sneaky
it?
if mommy and daddy are not around.
How would they?
Yeah, they come in, and when they know
the
their parents are about to come.
You go before mommy and daddy. That is no longer sneaky. You walk in majestically.
No, they
And they
sneak because they
settle
don't
the
want the
gate
neighbors
man.
to see as well.
Oh, which neighbor? Neighbor.
I didn't have that experience, Sha.
You didn't bother to try
Like for
it.
example, me in secondary school, boys were allowed to come and visit me, so I didn't have to sneak.
Yeah,
them
me
in.
too.
Do
So
you
I didn't have
understand?
to.
So
Yeah, I
there was
didn't
no
have to
sneaking
worry
the
about
door.
that. Yeah, I didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about sneaking anybody. That's true. In fact, my mom would even bring out snacks for them.
Yeah.
Mommy was nice, so.
Yeah.
Timmy's mommy was an angel. Oh.
I love
She would
her.
bring out snacks.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine my
didn't
mother
mind.
bringing if a boy came to visit me and my mom brought out snacks, it just means that I'm dead.
You're done for.
You check the text, make sure the snack is alright.
I'm
I know
finished.
something inside it.
Meanwhile, no, I think my mom also did something. So she didn't allow me. She allowed me to. She gave me opportunities to prove myself. Okay, how do you make decisions? Can I trust your decisions? Like, she didn't just start doing it. She had to make sure that, okay, sense, I was going to say it in Yoruba, but there's sense in this girl's brain, and she's not just doing anyhow just because people are telling her to. So it wasn't just randomly. I had to prove myself a bit.
But how old were you when boys started visiting you?
Maybe I'll say like secondary school.
Yeah,
like
secondary school. Senior secondary.
Mommy,
Senior
can you
secondary.
hear? Are you here?
Senior secondary, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
let's go. Were you forced into activities as a child that you hated? Do you do the same thing to your kids? Activities that I hated. Yes, ma'am.
Which one?
Like washing plates.
Oh, she keeps saying
That's
this
not
thing.
activity. That's chores.
Wait. So, do you know what? In my house, we everybody had chores.
Yeah.
And I really preferred like sweeping versus washing plates.
Interesting.
But mommy will make you wash the plates and then they will pack all the plates. and drop
Everybody's plates.
And sometimes I remember like there was this occasion I just burst into tears like I don't want to wash plates.
This is overwhelming.
And even now I still don't like washing dishes.
You're being
Like
traumatized.
that's why dishwasher is there and stuff. So yeah.
Which is interesting because like I had the opposite. I liked washing plates.
So I liked washing.
You like washing plates?
Yeah. I didn't mind. I'd rather wash plates than sweep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather wash plates than sweep or arrange. Don't bring arrange near me or sweep. But sometimes I also sweep. But I used to be happy when they used to
I used
give
to prefer
my
washing
sister to do that when she was of age.
Sometimes can even be therapeutic.
Yeah, I didn't mind playing because it's like you're playing with water. At least it's better than I don't
Ew,
know.
I don't like dipping my hands in water.
Wow,
But okay.
such a princess.
But I like every other thing. So you know what? Activities. What else can be activities?
What are the types of activities that your kids are into now? Did you force them into it?
Oh,
Did
I
you
had
ever
one
do those?
activity that they made me do that I didn't like? Piano lessons. Oh Jesus! Me and my sister don't like it. I was like, you have to learn the piano. I'm like,
But why? Why?
I don't know. Maybe because
Well, you didn't have a natural flair for it.
I didn't have a fear. I just thought it was boring. Then we now had one Baba lesson teacher. He would now come every day to include little stuff. That's the only thing we were playing with them on the piano. I was bored. Music lesson, you know, and we had music teacher. We had to learn the notes. We had to draw. That was so boring for me and my sister.
Oh, really?
In fact, we used to frustrate that Baba.
They should have switched and given me that activity.
You I was that.
Oh yeah, I was.
So what were you doing instead?
Well, me, I was in all the activities. So there's nothing that I would not do. Dancing, music. I was into everything. Acting. I was. Well, again, you know, I think that might have tied into like my personality, just being more outgoing. I guess I didn't mind all those things. The only one, actually, I still didn't mind that one, was like going to church choir. Only church choir, but every other choir I'm fine with.
No, I think mine was the reverse, actually. Apart from chores, mine was the reverse, because there were so many activities that I'd like to do, but they didn't let us. So, like, there was this time at church where they had a society that used to go out and visit sick people and poor people. My mom let me go once because I tried not to tell her what it was about. But then when I got home that evening, I think this was secondary school, and I got home that evening, mom then asked, like, well, what did you do? And I said, we went to the hospital to visit people.
And then why?
Cancel.
Why?
Never again. She never let me go back.
Did you ask her why?
I'm not even sure. Maybe if I have a conversation with her now, she might give me reasons. But then who born me to ask her, mommy, why?
Oh, that's a different discussion. But now, you know, I'm actually now trying to be conscious about that with my kids. It's like, okay, I want to make sure that whatever activities they're into, they really want it. Like, for example, I put my daughter in tennis maybe a few years back, and I just realized that she wasn't that like keen on it, right? So I pulled her out of it. And then, you know, we found other activities that she was interested in doing. But all of a sudden now she's now interested in tennis. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's something to like you also introducing certain things to your kids and you seeing how, you know, if they actually miss it or not. You know what I mean? Because like here, I mean, people do all kinds of activities, and a lot of people put their kids in activities for the purpose of the future. Maybe they're thinking about, okay, what Ivy League school I want my kids to go to, and what activities like with golfing or horseback riding and all that stuff. And I'm like, if my kid's not interested in golfing or horseback riding, please stay at home. You don't have to go to an Ivy League school, you know, to be whatever. And if you're going to go to an Ivy League school, it will be on like proper merit. It won't just be because you know how to golf and horseback ride. You know what I mean?
Because they
Just
want to,
what
not
you-
because you want them to.
Yes, exactly.
Because
So
some parents just put unnecessary pressure. Who says your kid wants to go to an Ivy League school?
yeah,
What if they don't?
and I feel like sometimes we're also impacted by like we're affected by the way other parents like do it. Like, you know, like being the school that we go to, you know, everybody's in one kind of activity or another. Like when we were growing up, were we always in activity? Is lesson teaching, lesson teacher.
No, wait. So I agree with you, but look at it from this point of view, that where we were growing up, there wasn't differentiation.
What do you mean by difference?
Okay. Everybody where we were growing up, the one focus was you need to be brilliant academically,
Smart, yeah.
right? There was no development, there was
On
no
the other
personal
aspects,
development
yeah.
of other aspects. So
Extracurricular.
most parents didn't do anything. But you're not raising your children for
In
where
that
we grew up,
environment. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
We're raising them for here where they now have to compete
Oh no, I get
for
yeah,
this
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
the only thing, I have a rule. When it comes to activities, there's only one that is compulsory.
Which one?
Swimming.
Okay, yeah, no,
Because
that one is not
because
even
it's a
an
life skill.
activity.
Everything
that
else
one is
is-
not even. That one is
You
not
don't
even
call that one an activity.
For me, it's like a life skill.
It's a life skill.
Like you have to be able to swim. I mean, I don't know how to swim, and I'm like,
Me too.
I want to still learn.
Go
You
back
know.
next one.
I can.
Oh, amazing!
Wow, you knew this about you.
I learned how to swim in England. And it was deliberate. I'm not a fantastic
How long
swimmer.
did you take it to learn?
Funny enough, it wasn't that hard. It took me like 2 weeks to learn to swim, and then obviously after that you just keep practicing and practicing. But it was a deliberate, conscious thing, because every black person you meet,
Don't
can you
know how
swim?
to.
I know you can't. And then because of that,
Yeah.
it just gives you this unnecessary fear of water. I'm like,
Yes.
no, I'm not for this
Yes,
life. And I had
yes.
friends that were very exposed. Then when they say, oh, let's go out, I'll be like, oh, please, I can't go to the beach because I can't swim. So I went to learn.
Interesting.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I guess so life skill, that's different. Activities. So yes, I understand what you're saying, where in this society you want your kids to have like extracurricular other things that they've done other than just doing math and reading and all whatnot. So I agree with it. What I don't agree with is like just jumping into, because there was a time I did where I was just like, oh, everybody's, because they did like a presentation in the kids' school, and it was like, okay, what else do you do outside of?
That day, my eyes were like this. Wow, like what have we been doing with our life? To be fair, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how it was when you went to that presentation where every kid had like 3 or 4.
Like in the school.
Femi said, where was I?
You always come for
Where was
this one.
Really?
Homebody.
One just happened like 2 weeks ago.
For the whole school.
No,
No,
by
kids
class.
too.
Okay,
It's
by
in the
class.
Did you go for the class one?
Are you allowed to go for it?
I was there.
There's sometimes that
All
you're
parents
going.
came.
Presentation,
In fact, that day, right?
You guys are confused.
Okay, so there's this presentation that they did of I Am Unique.
Yes.
And
did you not watch it? Did you
did
not
you
go
not
for
go?
it?
No, in
My daughter, they did it in their own class now, in kindergarten.
Yeah, I'm unique.
like in my son's class, they just finished, but it's not something that parents are allowed to watch.
All of us,
They just
you'll be
upload it
shocked.
on
You'll be
Instagram.
you'll be shocked.
Yeah.
Parents.
And
were
those
there.
are some of the extra things that we do.
Yeah, parents were there.
I'm 100% sure that
Okay.
no
It
parents
Let me
came.
tell
Maybe
you.
it was the
Yeah.
teacher.
So because
Yeah.
they're in the same year,
Yeah.
so it's not possible that one class is different.
No, I'm 100% sure.
Okay.
Me and the teacher were very much in communication.
Okay, let
about
me
that.
tell you this one. No.
Yeah.
That day, so he had been telling me that, Mommy, would you come to
So
school?
you went to the class for the presentation?
I said that day. He said, Mommy, would you come? So he had been telling us, and then the teacher wrote a letter. But I didn't think it was anything serious. Anyway, that day we arrived and realized that, oh my goodness, every single parent was there.
Did they present it on the same day?
No, like
So
in the class.
every single parent was there. So if we hadn't gone, we would have been the only ones that weren't
But that
present.
is the opposite, because in my son's class, everybody has their own day. They started since January, and my son was even the last
Maybe
person
it's the
this
teaching.
March.
The teaching.
I don't
Everybody has
know.
one day.
So
And after they present, she will upload it on the Instagram. Hope
maybe
you
he's the
understand.
teacher, because ours was like a whole.
they all presented
they
at the
even
same
put
time.
chairs for adults. So we started. It was like a 2-hour thing, and every
wow.
single child came up to the board and said, "I'm unique, and these are 3 things that make me unique: my
I remember
talent,
that's made-
what I love to
made
do,
us do
and
activity
more."
in kindergarten.
That's when you realize that. I don't know how it is in Nigeria or other African countries, but men, kids are not
No,
playing these days.
Nigerians are doing it too now. Like a lot of the schools in Nigeria, they're now catching up. You know, like
Yeah,
a lot
okay.
a lot of schools in Nigeria are now like being intentional about extracurricular activities. Yeah, whereas like during our own time, extra ambo. There will be nothing. I mean, it would do it, but it wasn't like a thing where like you do outside of school.
Okay.
It's just something you do in school.
Yeah, I know I did a lot of extracurricular stuff at school.
Yeah.
But these kids are doing it
Outside,
outside.
yes.
And like there were people that could ski, and they had videos of things they were doing. There was one boy that came with like medals that he had won in different activities. I'm like, yo,
Those people will not press us
Yeah, in my son's
because
class, there was a guy that had medals, though his own was for math competition. I said, where is he doing this competition? I'm not joking.
Yeah.
In
Kids
his
are going
class,
for
he had,
math,
like,
coding,
top,
computer.
whatever.
I'm
He
just
had
in
this-
kindergarten.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and they have medals.
Do you know that some kids are actually winning money?
Please, they need to be giving us this.
Like some
Because
kids
I
are
had
actually
money,
winning money.
oh.
Like some kids are actually winning money. And so also I think, and I'm just sharing this, that
Yeah.
for those of us that are not like Caucasian parents, we also need to be more vocal about the things our children are doing. So like this one, we went to for teachers parents evening,
Meeting, yeah.
and then I mentioned that our child was doing some coding and design stuff, and she had just picked up immediately. Like she was like, "Oh, can you send me a video? Can you send me like samples of what she has done? We need to present this to the class." But that's the thing, where we were raised, even if you are doing those
can't
things,
show
you
off.
don't.
Yeah,
We
it's
never
just a
show off. We're
pride,
not
yeah.
raised to show off. So we see it as bragging. But here, they want to know, because when
confidence,
things,
yeah.
it builds your confidence. Even when you're doing an application, have you noticed? When they say do an application, do an essay, Africans will be looking like we'll be looking.
I don't even know what to call it, if it's humility or stupidity.
Humility.
Let's do an essay for what?
like
just
here when
apply
you're
for stuff,
applying for
yeah.
stuff, right? Whereas we don't think that those things are important. They'll be like, oh, so I learned cooperation because I was
You brag
doing
about,
this, and they brag about the things they've done.
Yeah.
Even university applications.
University applications, job applications, interviews. I learned that here, actually. Here, if you don't toot your own horn, you're on your own. You will not find, you have to be the one saying, when I went for this stuff, I did this. And when I finished doing this, I got this accolade. And somebody else said this. And then, I want, you show off. It's not called show off. I think it's just you just actually
I've just
selling
realized
yourself.
generally in life, and even with the way things are now in our generation with social media and everything, if you don't blow your trumpet, nobody will blow it for you. It's you that will carry last.
Yeah.
So you better blow your trumpet, let them hear.
Yeah.
And I've realized that people call you what you call yourself. That's what I realized. That's why I started defining how people should come. That's why I always say I'm Dr.
Doctor.
Hey, I love it. Me, I need my own name. I need my own brand.
Send me the techie.
Send
me the techie. Techie with the mic.
I'm okay with that.
Like,
Actually, I don't mind that.
So people will call you what you call
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
You tell
Yeah.
people how to address you. I see
Yeah.
when people just tell themselves like, sorry, I don't even want to mention them before this people come, but there's some people like they call themselves relationship expert and like, but where they're not in a relationship expert, but that's what people call you, because that's who you say you are. So people will call you who you say. So if you don't define who you are, people will help you to define.
It's
And
true.
they
Yes.
will define
It's
the way
true.
you like it.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
called
Yes.
branding.
Yes.
If you don't brand yourself.
Yes.
So there was something I saw. They were like, every single person has a brand, but there are two differentiators. Is either you built your brand intentionally, meaning you did what Femi is saying, like you actually said, oh, this is who I am, this is what I want to be.
Yeah.
Or you did it unintentionally and other people helped you to supply. And most of the time people get it wrong because they don't know you.
We have to be really intentional. Something just came to mind, but we'll discuss this later. Like, I'm thinking, like, we have to be even more intentional about making sure that the kids are very, very sure of who they are.
Of course.
Like, even them
Identity.
learning that branding right from
Yeah.
now and saying, I am this and I'm proud of it and I'm, dun, dun, dun,
Yes.
Like, sometimes we make jokes about, like, with the hair, for example, like, are you proud of the color of your hair? Are you proud of how curly it is? Like, are you I see a lot of, people doing it now, which is nice. But sometimes, like, the more you say it, the more it sticks, right? So, like, I know sometimes, like, my daughter does the modeling thing, right? And sometimes she say, oh, can you send me a picture of my, this thing to my teacher? And I'm like, why are we sending a picture? But in reality, she just wants to show off, which is fine by me. I'm like, okay, you just want your teacher to know that that's what you're doing. Great, do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it also motivates the kids to be, because when they see other kids, like, do things outside of this, and they're like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Because I know that maybe that's why she's bringing up tennis now. Because I'm like, why all of a sudden, why all of a sudden do you want to play tennis? You know what I mean? So, anyway, it's very important.
Okay. Let's go. Next question. Because I feel like this is a topic by itself. Just raising children to have more self-confidence and awareness.
We need
like,
a whole session on it, because, man, I think even I could learn something from it. I'm sure a lot of people can learn from it too. Were you raised with spankings? Are you doing the same or switching it up?
Let's go dancing.
Because
she has to answer the question. That's it for her.
Wait, isn't it that we all kind of talk about it?
But you answer first now.
Okay. I was definitely raised with spankings, but up to a certain point. I don't think I got spanked. By the time I was in senior secondary, I don't think I ever got spanked. If I did, I must have done something really bad. Because I think at some point it starts to feel a little barbaric. Like when you're spanking like a tall, and I was pretty tall. Like, come here, bring your mom up. It was too much. And it could also be because maybe I listened a little bit more and I had grown up a little. But yeah, I definitely was spanked. But I don't think I was spanked in a ridiculous way. My mom never got koboko. I don't think we ever had koboko. I don't recall.
Can you translate koboko?
Koboko is the one. So there are two types of canes in Nigeria, I think. There's the long straight one, and then there's the one. There's the one with branches.
Like
the one with branches,
like horsewhip.
like horsewhip. The one with branches has extra branches in the. That's the one they call koboko. And I know some kids that were raised with it. I think that's super barbaric, in my opinion. First of all, I'm becoming a little bit less into spanking in general, because I do think that if there is a way to relay, like to teach your kids discipline and to, raise them up, it doesn't have to be through spanking. There are other ways. If there's another way, if there's an alternative way to do it and still pass your message across that does not involve spanking, I'll take it. But then sometimes they need to also know that it's still on the table for certain things. So it's not like they now say, oh, because daddy will never spank me. We'll find punishment that will pain you, that will hurt you more than spanking. That will send that message across to your brain that this thing you're doing is not acceptable. You know what I mean? So, and that's where being firm comes in. So yeah, I was raised with spankings, but very minimally. It was more caution, talking, a lot of reading the Bible, opening the Bible. mommy. We did a lot of Bible reading, reminding, I gave my life to Christ many, many times. So yes, I was raised with spankings, but very minimal. Okay. Not like in a crazy amount of way. Yeah. And am I doing the same or switching it? I'm switching it up. But sometimes if they need it, I won't hesitate. But thankfully, my kids are good. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is my turn, right?
Wait, people did not want to talk about that one, eh?
I feel like we're done. I wasn't raised with spanking at all.
You weren't raised with it?
No, I was raised with spanking, but I don't spank.
Yeah, it's good. I think if there's an alternative way, I think I would rather do that.
Yeah, because I feel like the spanking makes you feel better. The child does not get the message. Move on.
I hear you.
What's the biggest generational parenting difference you've noticed?
The relationship to respect. I'm answering your question. Sorry.
So see, guys, you already started, so you can't stop, ma.
The relationship to respect. I feel like for people who grew up in traditional African homes, like I did, there was this rubbish respect that wasn't really respect, where someone is saying something that is obviously not true, or they're not getting the context. And you're expected to just stand there and
take it.
What bullshit. Like, to me, as far as I'm concerned, that's nonsense. That's nonsense upbringing. Because I want my child to say, Mommy, that's not true. There's a way you can communicate that without being rude. But I want my child to tell me, Mommy, that's not what happened. That's not true. In fact, there are even situations where another grown-up will come and report something, and the person has taken things out of context. And then you're supposed to just take it. No, I want my child to tell me, Mommy, that's not what happened. That's not true. Is it okay if I tell you what actually happened? I want to hear what actually happened, not what Mr. Lagbaja said happened.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like the way we had a relationship with respect, nonsense as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Because that's why a lot of pedophilia, a lot of abuse, a lot of blackmailing of young children came into like the way we were raised.
Yeah, it's true. I agree with you. I think it's one of those things that when we're growing up, it's almost like the grown up is never wrong. But it's like there's nothing you say. It's like the parents will just look and be like, obviously the grown up person is the right one here. Whereas in a lot of cases it's not.
Yeah.
Which is very hurtful. And I feel like that's what we're trying to change in this generation, where like your child comes first.
Yeah. A lot of people were abused because of that, nobody would believe them.
They'll be afraid, they'll be even afraid to tell their parents, because their parents might think, oh, it's your fault. It's your fault, that's why it happened.
Yeah.
How is it a girl? Like, how is it a young, like, it's not even a young girl, like, that's like a child. Okay.
Or like silly things, like they will say, oh, when a grown-up is talking to you, you don't look at them in the face. I should be no. Like,
oh, there's one, brother and sister.
Really?
No, not brother and sister, uncle and auntie.
What is that?
Everybody's your uncle.
Okay.
Oh my god.
It's like I just struck a nerve.
Oh my goodness.
That one I'm undoing. I'm trying to undo. Sometimes it creeps in where sometimes you know, I'll say, oh, that's auntie. No, I'm like, no, that's not aunt. That's somebody's mommy and that's
Yeah.
somebody's daddy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not your aunt. That's not
Yeah.
your uncle. Your aunt is your mommy's sister or brother
Yeah.
or your daddy's sister or brother. That's your aunt. You know, that's
Yeah.
your, I'm sorry, your sister, aunt or uncle. Anyway, you guys get it. But like, you know, when we were growing up, anybody, including your sibling,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
older than you, but I don't even know what the age gap
Yeah.
should be.
Oh my God.
To a point, like at some point, I think my sister, for example, doesn't call me auntie or something. There was a time people were like upset because, well, not like upset. They were just like, they just thought it was kind of rude that she wasn't. And me, I didn't want it. So we ended up just resorting to just call me sis, so that they would just be like, you know, they will leave her, you know, leave her alone. But it was just like annoying because it's like, I don't want the title of like auntie or like, no.
You know, that definitely happened in my house too, because of the age gap. So all my siblings after my immediate call me sis or call me sister, but that wasn't the normal. But the thing is, for me, I remember someone challenged me a few years ago. I was like, oh, why don't my kids call? So my kids didn't call and greet her
As a-
auntie. I'm like, wrong question to ask me. If you guys know me by now, like, I'm like, oh, are you related to them?
You even have mine.
See, for me in this life, if you're not going to be my friend, perfect. Don't be my friend. But when it comes to my children, I'm not going to make you feel good.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, why don't you call her auntie? That, oh, there wasn't that, you know, she finds it a bit rude. I'm like, no, it's not rude and it's not awkward. Are you related to them? She was looking at me. I'm like, yo, we only call actual aunts and uncle. Every other person, you can tell them what to call you if you feel so strongly about it, but no auntie, no uncle. Can we move on?
I time for audience questions.
Yeah.
Let's take.
I feel like we didn't let you answer your own question.
No, but that.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
No, the one about
The relationship to respect.
yeah.
oh no, Kumbi already answered. The only other thing I would add would be about the one we already talked about at the beginning, where we are more expressive than our parents were in this generation. I feel so, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I love it. All right, what's that question?
All right, guys, this is for you. How do you handle talking about things like mental health that your parents never discussed?
Thank you. Please help us with that
Please
question. Because
let us know what you think, how you're handling it down in the comments. And if you've watched till this point and you've been giggling, laughing, and you haven't hit the subscribe button, what's going on? Let's be friends. Can you please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified every time there's a new episode? And meanwhile, it's, bye from us. We'll see you
till
on the next
week.
one.
Bye.